Hey everybody, welcome back to another great episode of Small Town Music. We took
We're back!
such a long break. If you follow us on Instagram at Small Town Music Podcast, Small.Town Music.
Small.Town Music.
Okay. Then we would randomly post like, no, we're totally gonna make more episodes, and then time happened. I got pregnant with twins, and I think there was like one random episode couple months ago or so that I mentioned that.
Well, hey, if you're a small town music teacher, you realize how busy your life is, and we are small town music teachers, and I already have 2 kids, and she's got 2 on the way, so yeah, life is busy, but we getting ready to kick off another school year, so we want to make sure that we get back at it and support you however we can do that.
Well, yeah. Should say Laura's going to kick off another school year. I will be at home taking care of my 2 children whenever they decide to make an appearance before the end of August. But yeah, I'm still a teacher. I'm still here, happy to give my advice as the cat contemplates where to jump up. Okay. He's feeling left out. So today we're kind of talking about. If you haven't started already, which if you're a music teacher or just a teacher in general, you probably have started this process. Just like getting your classroom and yourself, like mentally, physically, emotionally, ready for the school year. And this is kind of we're gonna try to focus on how to not give yourself like syllabus shock in the process. I know there have been many years that I've tried to like plan my entire school year down to a T, and then it like all falls apart on day 1, and then I'm like in a corner crying.
Everything's on fire.
Right. It's fine. So kind of like how Laura and I separately like break down tasks, especially like me as a little bit younger teacher, how I kind of go through that process, her as having more experience, and how she kind of goes through that process year to year. Yeah.
So, first off is enjoy your summer. Like, do not spend your entire summer. I know summer's almost over now, but if you spent your entire summer working, well, good for you.
Go to the pool.
Next summer, don't.
Turn off the podcast and go to the pool.
Put it down and go and sit and...
I don't care if school starts tomorrow. Go to the pool.
Sip something delicious and, like...
Read a book. That's not about teaching.
Seriously. So enjoy your summer. It is your time to reset. It's your time to convince yourself that it's okay to go back and do this again. It's time for you to enjoy being a musician again on your own. It's time for you to remember what it's like to be a human. My husband and I always joke that there's summer Laura and there's like teacher Laura, and like enjoy who you are in the summer. But then it's like, okay, then 4th of July hits and all the back to school ads start and
the tears happen.
You're like, oh, and suddenly everywhere you go, you see someone out and they're like, oh, you're ready for school to start. And it's like,
and then there's we have one annoying person in our town that starts in July, posting on Facebook of like this many more weekends until school.
So I'm not friends with that person apparently, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So okay, like it's happening. You're like, all right, I gotta start thinking about this. My goal is always, my number one goal is like, okay, can the first day of school happen? So, I do not. At some point, I'll show you pictures of my classroom. I am not a Type A Pinterest perfect teacher. Some of you have beautiful classrooms, and that's wonderful for you.
There was a really funny TikTok I saw from a teacher that was like, there are 3 types of teachers. There's the Labradoodle, which is like super Type A, loves it, like born to teach, has like the best, most awesome teacher, has her classroom decorated to the nines, like absolutely a Pinterest perfect teacher, and like loves it, and all the kids love her, and she's got like, everything figured out. Then there's the rat teacher. I kind of raised my hand a little bit, but like the piles strewn around the classroom, like unfinished projects. Like you've probably bought some kind of like teacher decorating bundle, but like never opened it.
Still on the shelf.
And then like I forget the third one, but it was really funny.
Like, yeah. So
and that's okay. Like if
you are you. And so I guess so whenever I go in, my first thing is like, okay, as soon as the janitors are done in my classroom, I want to get my room like put together. It kind of freaks me out if I know that the chairs are stacked up in the corner and my piano's still shoved up against the wall from where they shampooed the carpet. So the first thing I do is I go in, I get my spots put down, I get my chairs put out. I was really excited at the end of last year in our makerspace. I made a new vinyl with my classroom expectations on it, which I totally stole from someone else, and we'll talk about this in another episode, I'm sure. But the idea of work hard, be kind, make good music, and so I made a big vinyl, so I got that put up, and just started to get the piles that I left behind in May when I was like, I am getting out of here.
I am running away.
We've been having our community choir in my classroom all summer, so there was some, So the first step for me is like, okay, get the classroom refreshed. Like I'm not hanging up all the pretty posters right away, but like, okay. So that's step one for me. What's the first thing that you do?
So I like lists. I know we, like a long time ago, we kind of talked about our bullet journals. So I'll kind of go in my bullet journal and decide like what days, and this is really easy. Pre-pregnancy Katie, this was really easy for me to do, obviously, because I just like sit at home all summer. But like decide days and times, and I'm like, yeah, this would be a good day for me to go into school. And kind of write out, I do like in the back of my bullet journal, like one giant like brain dump list of like all the things I feel like I need to get, like they're just like the things swirling around in your mind. That's really helpful for me to just like vomit it out. And so like, yeah, like clean up classroom, and then I'll just like keep thinking of, it's like, oh, and then this, and then another thing, and then another thing, and then another. So I have like a giant list, and then when I go into school, I kind of have that list in front of me. Like I, put in my bullet journal, like Tuesday, schoolwork. And I go in and look at that list, and I say, okay, what do I want to do right now? Like, what's the first thing that I actually physically and mentally want to do? Like, maybe I should write lesson plans first.
But what will bring you joy?
But honestly, like, we have that on our to-do list. It's like, you're still being productive, even if all you did was, like, arrange the chairs and create cute name tags for your first period class. Like, that's still a productive thing.
Which, by the way, don't do that early on, because you're going to get 50 million other kids. Like, things are going to change.
Yeah, you should wait on that.
I remembered, rookie mistake, first few years, I made these, like, amazing, like, spreadsheets with, like, I copied all the class rosters in, and then by the time school started, so many kids had moved out and moved in. I was like, these are completely different. And then I had to redo my work.
Especially for elementary, the amount of withdrawals and enrollment emails we get on a daily basis is nuts. So like high school ensembles, that can fluctuate, especially as kids like realize they did or didn't put something on their schedule that they wanted, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, I meant to sign up for that. So if like sometimes I just need to get my nervous energy out, so that's when I start like physically working in my classroom. Like maybe I'll set up a general idea of chairs, or I'll like, clean up, like my classroom gets real dusty. So like maybe like literally dusting my classroom is like, okay, I feel like I just need to do this for my own sanity and well-being, or, whatever. And so like what I physically need to do at this point, I have my classroom set up good. Like the way that it works for me is the way that it's going to stay. I don't feel like I need to like completely flip the room or move crazy things around. So that's that's not something I feel like I have to spend a lot of time on. First couple years, it was definitely a like, okay, well, I didn't love this setup. How do I do this? What about this? So maybe that's a thing, especially if you're a newer teacher, that you're going to spend some time on. So block out. It's going to take longer than you think because you're alone, and that's fine. But like block out some time to like figure out classroom setups and setting up chairs and whatever. I'm the type of person that like, yeah, I know I could have kids or other people help me, but I need to control that, and I want to control that. But then I start kind of going through my list, and when I get tired and start like, oh, look, my phone looks really interesting right now, or like, my tumbly has the rumblies because I haven't eaten in 4 hours or whatever, then I like put it down, like maybe finish your thought of what's happening. Remember to like put the thing you're working on down. Either like you'll come back and like leave the cave that is your classroom, most likely, because for the most part the choir and band rooms and elementary music classrooms that I've been in don't really have windows. So like leave the cave, go outside, like take yourself out to lunch
because it's summer and you can do that.
Yeah. And like remember, you can go to the bathroom whenever you want. Cherish that moment. And either like go and have lunch and come back, or don't come back until the next day. Or like, yeah, like I know I've done like, okay, I have to physically be in my classroom to rearrange it and to like pull out some scores to look at or to make copies, but I can sit at home in my pajamas and like chow down on whatever like garbage cereal I'm eating that week and like write lesson plans. So I'm going to do that at home. And maybe you don't want to do that at home, and that's fine.
I'm terrible at doing it at home. I always say I'm going to do it at home. But
it's really a mental thing of like, when I'm at home,
I just want to be at home.
I just want to be at home.
If you can do that in your jammies while watching The Office or whatever, then that's good for you. That's great. Do that.
Yeah.
So I guess the next thing, so after that's done, my next step is always like, okay, what am I going to teach the first day, the first week of school? You know, I do primarily elementary, so I'm really thinking about the first week of school, because at that point you're going to meet your kids. And I know something that we'll probably talk about in a future episode, you know, picking repertoire, but you know, especially with those ensembles, like until you meet those kids and you have those kids in your classroom, like you don't really know. And same thing with even with your elementary classes, like until you see what they've retained, what they you know, and where they are, you know, you might have to make tweaks. So don't spend your precious summer hours planning out months and months of lesson plans. Like, get the first week under your belt. Like, have a solid plan for your first week, and then you can go from there. Because remember, this is
school starts relatively slow. Like, it's a whirlwind because it's like getting back into the groove of things. However, like, you have not started after school practices. You have definitely not started like basketball, sports ball things quite yet, depending on your school. Like, I don't know anything about football. I'll be honest. Like, we don't have football, so like that's great for me, especially if you're elementary only.
Right. And I know, like, marching band is definitely going and things like that, but
it's a slow, like the very first week. Typically, like, I do not schedule any outside of school practices, meetings, anything, because I know I'm going to need that time.
And your lesson plan for the first week of school should be primarily about procedure. You know, you're going to need to, like, the number one thing, and again, like future episodes, but, you know, learning the kids' names, making sure you have all that on, making sure that, and then getting all of those procedures in place and practicing those procedures takes longer than you think. So you really don't need an award-winning lesson plan for that first week of school. It's about you getting to know the kids, them getting to know you, and what you expect in their classroom, and practicing those skills.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a lot of what's on our list. I think that the biggest thing I just want to remind you is that, you know, this is unpaid labor time.
Yeah. And it's important. Like, unfortunately, you're just going to have to do it. And especially, like, the younger you are as a teacher, the more time you have to spend on that. But remember that, and remember to not like kill yourself.
Let go of the guilt. Let go of the guilt and just do what you need to do to make sure that you feel successful. I have this conversation with my husband a lot, because he doesn't work in education, and so he's like, why are you doing all this work when you're not getting paid? And I'm like, because it's about me. It's about, I feel better doing my job when I have an organized classroom, when I come into my day knowing what's going to happen.
Right.
And so I'm not doing it just for the kids. I'm not doing it for my principal. I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
Because as a person, I feel better. And so don't kill you, but also remember that like this is beyond expectations. And so,
and like I cannot iterate enough. Do not buy a bunch of decorations and then expect your classroom to look like all the Pinterest teachers. Like, it's okay. Maybe someday it will, but for right now, like, is it functional and is it safe and is it clean? Like, for me, I remember going into teachers' classrooms where it was just piles and it like giving me like heart palpitations. But like, and that's just who I am. Maybe you're different, and that's fine.
Hey, I like my piles, okay?
It's okay.
I know where things are in my piles.
But your kids can use your classroom. Like, yeah, there are piles, but it's not like...
I guess it's my office that's piles.
And that's fine. My office, I need like a nice, clean desk surface. Otherwise, I get very upset.
Okay. You do you, man.
But, like, seriously, don't spend all your time decorating. Spend some of the time decorating, because that's also for you. That's your space. Like, we decorate our homes. We put, fun, nice pictures up to make us happy, and like that's important too. But it took me, I decorated my office very prettily, and I have like this fairy lights and lamps and like fun things and a couch, and it's like a cool space. And that took me like 4 or 5 years of teaching before I got to that point.
It was a developed thing.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, spend your time on the things that are going to make you a better teacher. And maybe if that's decorating, that's okay. But
Yep. Cool.
So what's something you like?
My favorite thing. Okay.
Your favorite thing?
I think,
favorite teacher or non-teacher thing?
I was thinking of a few different things, but I think the thing that I was thinking about most is the Todoist app that I've really been, you mentioned our bullet journals, and I've kind of forewent the bullet journal as of late, in favor of the Todoist app, Todoist. And it's just a great app to make your to-do lists. Anytime you have to put an item in, you can schedule what day you want to put on it, so it's not that you're talking about your like stream of consciousness. I feel like that would give me heart palpitations, like to look at my eternal list of things to do. And so I love that, if I think about something I need to do, all right, but I don't need to do that right now, I can do that next week, then I
that
put
is
it
an
on the
important
to-do
thing,
list,
yeah.
But I schedule it for next week, and then it magically appears on my to-do list next week. You can prioritize things, and it automatically like color codes them, which always makes me happy, and pops them up to the top of your list. And it has a widget for my iPhone, so it's always visible on my home screen. So that's been super helpful to keep things at the front of my mind, so I don't have to actually check the app. It's always right there whenever I open up my phone. And you can also categorize things, so like I can have home to-do list and I can have school to-do list, and so when I'm at home I can just go to that tab and not have to think about my school things at home, and vice versa. So that helps me compartmentalize my life a little bit, which I have to do because there's just a lot going on. So the Todoist app I think and it's free. I think you can pay for a premium version, but I don't. And it's been a game changer for me.
We have no sponsorships, by the way, so this is all like
This is just me.
genuine, like, no, I actually use this and I'm not getting paid. For me, especially through my pregnancy, I have a pregnancy journal that I'll update every couple of months or so, every few weeks. And I bought this specific journal because it has prompts. So it'll say like every month is like, what month are you? What size is the baby? or babies in my case. I obviously bought this before I knew I had twins. So I've just...
I'd like to read that journal entry. By the way, found out there were 2 of you today.
Yeah, that was nuts. But, you know, kept the same journal because it's one pregnancy still. But it has fun prompts like coming up, I think is like draw the nursery, like describe what the nursery looks like, because eventually like that room is going to change and become whoever's, you know, going to stay in that room permanently, then it's going to change to fit them. But right now it's like, I decorated it. I chose everything. Or like, you know, describe, like, list the names that you have picked out. Why did you pick out those names? And then like, and I appreciate the prompts because to just like sit and journal about things is like not something I'm very good at or that I necessarily want to do. But I encourage you, in my bullet journal, I would do that. I would just put like 1 or 2 sentences of like, oh, yesterday this really cool thing happened in class, or like, oh, Taylor, my husband, like surprised me with the XYZ thing, or like, oh, I found this new TV show and I watched like all of it and it was great. Of just like something that I want to remember that was good that happened that day. Even if like, it was like, pretty normal day, but I got to take a nap and that was awesome. And like sometimes, and like I'll go back and kind of read through those and just like laugh, or like, oh yeah, I do, like I kind of forgot about that. So I really like that because like it's just nice to reflect on time as it goes by, and especially like your first couple years teaching, it's rough. There are a lot of good moments. You will have good moments, I promise. Even your 10th or 20th year teaching is rough. But just, I don't know, just being able to reflect and remember that like there are good things, and just remembering that time, and even like minuscule random things, it's kind of fun to just like, oh yeah, I totally forgot I did that. Like that was a cool thing.
I like the gratitude journal. Like that's a big thing. If you're looking for a simple prompt, it's just like each day writing down like what is one thing that you're thankful for today, and that can go a lot, especially when you had a rough day. Even just going back and rereading those things, or
yeah. All right, thank you so much for listening. We are on TikTok, Instagram, although we mainly post on Instagram, so don't go to TikTok. But small.town music on Instagram, smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com. If you want to email us with questions or episode suggestions.
If you're on YouTube, comment below. Tell us like, what are you excited about this school year? What's the thing that you're really looking forward to?
Like, subscribe, rate, review, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the things, YouTube. Yeah, we would love to hear from you, and we'll keep making episodes. So we will be back at it.
All right. Have a good day.